Hey, good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Nice to see some people attending in council chambers. Welcome. Clerk, anybody on the any electronic participants this evening?
Yes, we have one member of the one resident on
Okay,
this evening.
thank you. Next in line is the adoption of the agenda. Everybody had a chance to go through the agenda. We're okay with it. I need a mover and a seconder. Thank you, Ross. So the motion on the table is moved by Councillor Levite, seconded by Councillor Ross. Be it resolved that the meeting agenda dated Monday, May 27th, 2024 be adopted. Any questions, comments? If not, all in favor? Carried. A reminder, if anybody has a conflict of interest, is Councillor Mick.
I do have a conflict of interest with 11.1.
11.1.
Mhm.
Thank you. If anybody else has a conflict of interest, can do it now or preferably before the topic at hand is being discussed. Next in line is presentations and delegation. And this evening we have Mr. Danny Lamar that has asked to address council. So Danny, if you want to move right there and welcome. And we're gonna hear you out and if you feel more comfortable seated. Okay, no problem. Floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, I'm just here concerned about the drug problem we have in this town and all the overdoses, the deaths of our young people, grandparents, and not me as a grandparent and other parents. We're getting fed up. We don't think the cops are doing their job properly. They'd rather, like, for example, I can tell you what the cops do. They don't do nothing. I called the other day, talked to a sergeant in North Bay. He calls the OPP station a business. I had to correct him. I said, that's not a business. You're there to serve and protect. It's not a business you're running, but I think it is a business they're running because they're not doing nothing in this town to protect our young children from those drugs that are coming into this town. We got our hot job. I'm no coward. I smoke my weed. I'm no coward. I'll always smoke my weed. But those heavy drugs that are killing our kids, something's got to be done. What's going to happen is one parent's going to lose a child, and what's going to happen is that parent's going to lose self-control, and he's gonna get blamed for doing something that the cops aren't doing their job. For example, I had a young lad come into town the other night, cops pulled him over. They were harassing for burnt ballpoint, license plate, and a mud flap. To give them a warning for that. Who's the victim? There's no victim there. What are them cops doing? Our victims are our kids laying on the streets, dying every day. And I'm sick of it, and so is other parents sick of it. So I just hope something can be done. Get some cops in this town to do the job they're supposed to do that we paid them to do. We don't pay them just to drive around and watch our young ones die. That's sad. So you can get together and do something about this. I really appreciate it. And just not me, grandparents, uncles, aunts, fathers, mothers. We just lost one not too long ago. A young girl, for no reason. For no reason. And drugs in this town. We got our drugstore. Let's support our drugstore. Let's get those other guys that are killing our kids put in jail for manslaughter, because that's what it is. It's involuntary manslaughter. And we're sick of it. Just hoping that somebody get some cops in this town to do their job properly before something that's drastically happen. Thank you for hearing me.
Okay, Councillor Ross, you may have a comment or questions for you.
So I sit on the police services board, So we have not had a meeting. We have our first meeting coming up. So that is one of the things that I'm going to be discussing with them, is what is going on with the drug problem? What are they doing about it? We just found out that there is actually a thing called fentanyl strips that the people who are using can test the drugs they're going to use to see if they're laced with fentanyl. Nobody was aware that these even existed except North Bay. So I'm going to ask the police also why that is not available and what we can do to make it public knowledge so that it can be made
I
available.
didn't get to make it public knowledge. I asked for a FOIA form. That's freedom of information form. What they do, they ask me for my name. I don't have to give them my name. They told me I do. By law, I do not have to give them my name. Why? Because of retaliation.
Mhm.
What does he do? He hangs up on them. How are we supposed to get help from our OPP when they're hanging up the phone and lying? How are we supposed to get that help?
I will
That's what I'd
definitely,
like to know.
I will definitely be addressing that at our police services board. Actually, it's on this
It
Wednesday.
was Sergeant North Bay, I hung the phone up on. Called when I live down here, they use the phone down here. You're standing outside, you're waiting 10 minutes, you feel like a criminal on that phone while traffic going by. That should be not like that. You should be hid behind some sort of wall that you could hold that phone and not feel like a criminal when traffic's going by. I felt criminal, just like a criminal. That's not like for me to feel that way.
Yeah.
It's another thing. So just hopefully that we can get this situation addressed quickly before one parent does lose his mind after losing the child. Because I know I'm going through it myself, and I don't want whoever is in my family in that trouble, and I lose that family, I don't know what I'm liable to do. You know, and then they're gonna blame me for going after the drug dealer when they're not doing the job. I just hope that somebody could get this straightened out before it's too late. You know, our young ones are dying, our generation's gone, this whole generation can be wiped out with what? Drugs, and the cops aren't doing their job. They come to my house one day, they told me they know who's doing it. Well, if they know who's doing it, go get it. Never mind going to houses and doing civil things when you have no business doing civil things. Do your criminal things, not civil, what we pay you to do. Thank you for hearing me, and hopefully this gets addressed.
Yeah, anybody else have comments? Councilor Gardner?
Yeah, so I appreciate you coming here to speak with us tonight. I think you make some valid points. I think everybody's aware of the issues that are facing everybody, not just Mattawa, but the country as a whole, when it comes to drug use and dependency on that. I was recently informed that North Bay had a community drug strategy for the North Bay area steering committee. And when I did some research on that, it looks like they started with some decent initiative, and they were the ones that started the Patch for Patch program in North Bay that ended up becoming provincial, but they've recently disbanded as of last month. So disappointing to hear. There's talk about them coming back in another way or another form, but that's one avenue I think that you know, this municipality could support in that program. I think I've talked to Mayor Belanger about this a little bit, and I think you're going to hear some staggering financial numbers that the municipality contributes to this. Are we doing all that we humanly can to prevent this? I don't think so, but we're doing what we financially can. There becomes a tipping balance where, unfortunately, we can throw millions of dollars at policing, but then people aren't going to be able to afford their homes, and they're going to cause more of the same issues. So it's a tipping scale. I agree with you. I think the police have gotten to a point where they're frustrated too, because the ones that are doing their job, it's a catch and release game. They catch them, they put them in jail, they're back on the streets the next day. They catch them, they put them in jail, they're back on the streets the next day. So I think the issue is bigger than you know, I think a lot of people think. It's something that has to be addressed from the federal and provincial governments. They need to be stricter on these people that are caught selling. It needs to be a lock and throw away the key type of thing. It can't be okay, they inform on a couple of people and they're back on the streets the next day. That shouldn't be how it works, right? Because it's only a matter of time until they kill somebody. So that needs to change. Our mayor does have a great relationship with our MPP Vic Fideli. Hopefully, as a council, we can raise these concerns with Mr. Fideli, and he can bring those back to the provincial government, because I think in the end, they're the ones that are gonna have to lead this. And they're gonna have to provide funding for policing, for recovery programs, for the justice system, you know, and fix the loopholes that keep allowing these people back out and on the streets. Because it's never going to end until that happens. So again, I appreciate you coming. I hear you. I know exactly what you're talking about. I think everybody has, you know, somebody that they know or related to, or you know, has gone through this this issue, or is going through this issue, and nobody wants to see it, and it kills me to hear that young people are losing their lives to it, you know, and not having an opportunity to live out the rest of their life. So hopefully, as a table, we can kind of make some recommendations. I did have a note that I was going to mention that Councillor Ross would bring that to the Police Service Board meeting. And that's something I think that our former councillor that was on there has probably banged his head against the wall with them for, but it's something that needs to be dealt with between the OPP and the justice system. And I think that our job is the recovery, the programs and things like that we assist and offer, and you're gonna kind of hear a little bit more about what we do in that case, but that was my 2 cents.
Councillor Levesque?
You all covered everything, but you're right, maybe when you do have your meeting, if there is a possibility, what kind of a drug program they have with the OPP, what they would entitle the whole area of Mattawa, Papineau, Cameron, and maybe they can see if they can do some public speaking about it, invite people, a lot of things they can do, but I hope that they should have a special squad that they can go around there and look for these drug sellers. That's what we need to get, and there's lots in Mattawa, believe me. I know a few of them, but I hate to be the tattletailer, but sometimes they need to send an anonymous letter to say, hey, look into this one, look into that one, so.
And the sergeant said, he told me to go to court. He says, go to court, bring it up to court. I said, I go to court, I bring it up to court. It says, our corrupt judges, which they are corrupt, because they're letting them drug dealers out on the streets again. He says, go to jail, go to the court and tell the judge that. Why would you go to the court and tell the judge he's corrupt?
Okay, so then we have to keep it that, we have to keep it to the issue. We can't attack, I can't let you attack professions in that. It's not the place to do so. Okay, but Councillor Tiber had a comment also.
You know, Dan, I relived while you were talking, some personal horrifying experiences. But you take one pusher off the street, 2 more come. I know it's an endless fight. And that is, I think the solution is not, well, that's part of the solution, trying to get the pushers off the street. But I agree with Councillor Gardner. I'm really trying to get this out of my head, because I went to a treatment center and I know that that's the only way that I could help myself. And get myself out of that control that the drugs had on me. And I think that is part of the solution. The big part of the solution is more treatment centers and more counselors on the streets. Trying to get these people to realize what they're doing to themselves. I know if I didn't have a person that helped me get off of drugs, I would be dead today. And if it wasn't for him pushing me to that treatment center to get the help that I needed, I'm sure I wouldn't be here. But getting the pushers off the street is not the solution. The solution is, well, it's part of the solution, but the solution is more treatment centers and more workers out on the streets trying to talk to these people, trying to help them and trying to encourage them. And then you can't put the social workers out on the street if you don't have the treatment center to send them to. So, you know, it's a long road and it's gonna be a long and expensive road. And I don't know if the government's willing to take that, but like Councillor Gardner said, our mayor has a really good relationship with our MPP and our MP, and maybe he can discuss this with them. But I know it's not just getting the druggers to put it back on the street. It's a lot more than that. It's a long road and it's a long haul, but it has to be done that way. It has to be pushers gone, recovery stations made up, and social workers on the street to help these people. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Mick, any comments?
Just thanks for coming in, yeah. I don't have the answers, but it's, you know, keeps me up at
Nobody
night.
has the answer, you know, I'm just here to inform, what's like, you know, that you guys know what's going on, and what parents are getting fed up, and something happens, and when their child dies, and the parent loses it, you know, it's who's to blame? Not the parent, you can't blame the parent. You just lost a child, or she just lost a child. So just. We're good.
Are we still 2 more minutes? Okay, I'd like to wrap it up if you don't
Sure,
mind.
yeah.
Okay, so Councillor Ross talked about bringing it to the next OPP meeting. The OPP board that consists of the group of 4, Calvin, Matawan, Papineau, Cameron, and Mattawa, you know, we're subject to a whole brand new board, and this is gonna be their first, maybe the messages are gonna flow better, I don't know, but we'll get some reports, and you got our word here that something she's gonna bring forward. When I read your sheet, why you wanted to come here, what are we doing? I'm just gonna throw a few things at you, just so we're all aware, you know, and we all feel what you're feeling. I have 4 grandchildren, and I don't want those guys to bring them down that path. You know, we hear you, so that's not the problem. I just want to throw, I will make sure to bring it to our MP and MPP, you know, so, because this is not just a Mattawa problem.
No.
This is a worldwide
Yeah.
problem, and when it can, as Canadians, we have to start with the feds. And as Ontarians, we gotta go to the province. And then as municipalities, you ask, well, what do we do? Well, we pay into a bunch of social services and that. Annually, every year, we pay $250,000 to DSAB. You know, I'm not saying that they're in charge of drugs, but they're in charge of some of the social programs that could help. We also contribute to physician recruitment because drugs have that effect. We need more doctors, right? So we're spending money there too. Right next door, there's a mental health clinic, you know, right here, right in Mattawa. OPP services cost Mattawa alone over $500,000 a year. So, and between the group of 4, it's over $1 million. So it's a lot of money, and I get your frustration, but you know, you're never gonna get an answer when you yell at someone, but when you talk, you're gonna get an answer. So that's, and the one thing, these kits, you know, as a municipality, we got those kits, we provided them to all our staff have all been trained on it. You know, it doesn't stop the drugs from coming in town, but it could save lives. So if you're asking what's being done, I'm just trying to give you a little overview. But other than that, thank you for your presentation, and it didn't fall on deaf ears. I think we all feel the same pain.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so. Number 6, adoption of minutes. We have a regular meeting of May 13th. Everyone had a chance to read the minutes. If there's no questions or nothing, I would like to ask for a mover and a seconder. Councillor Mick and Councillor Kuber. So the motion on the table is moved by Councillor Mick, seconded by Councillor T-Bear. Be it resolved that council adopt the minutes of the regular meeting of Monday, May 13th, 2024. All in favor? Carried. Notice of motions. First motion we have here is to, for the hiring of the full-time fire chief. So I need a mover and a seconder for it.
Sure.
So the motion on the table is moved by Councillor Levesque, seconded by Councillor Gardner. Be it resolved that the council of the town of Mattawa hires Sean Angel for the fire chief position as per the contract terms set out in the in-camera closed session of April 22nd, 2024 meeting. And further that council directs staff to bring forward a formal bylaw appointing the fire chief once a start date has been confirmed. Questions, comments? None? All in favor? Carried. Next up is correspondence. So 8.1, 2024-25 MTO Connecting Links Program Funding Approval. Good news. Any questions, comments on it? Councillor Gardner?
Just maybe for the CAO or the interim CAO. When we applied for this, was it just for surface rehabilitation or is it surface and underground rehab?
Yeah, so this is the engineering for service and underground for parts of the services that are there, correct?
Perfect, thank you.
Any other questions? No, or comments? 8.2. 8.2 is AMO policy updates. Any comments on that? If not, I'm gonna let you know that I know that our interim CEO and myself are registered for the AMO in Ottawa in the month of August.
The 19th?
17th, 18th to the 21st, I believe. And everything that's in there is going to be fully discussed because so far we went to Roma, we went to OSIM, and we went to Phenom, and it's been talked about and everything. And but this is the big one when we can sit with a lot of the MPPs and cabinet ministers, and we're planning on a few items at least to try and line up some meetings and get some private sessions. Any other comments? Okay. 8.3. MP Anthony Rhoda, Canada Summer Jobs Opportunities Available. I don't think it tells us how many we got, but could I ask the interim CEO to maybe update us on
Sure, from the current applications, we have 3 approved from the federal government, 1 from the provincial government, 2 from our Métis Mattawa Council. And we have from the YES program, which is a federal program, there are 13 spots currently available. There are like 15, 20 employers fighting for those. We've asked for 5. I haven't heard yet.
So we're already far ahead from last year where
Yeah.
if I recall, we got none.
None.
So good news again on 8.3. 8.4, martial arts session at Mattawa Voyageur Days. Councillor Mick. Oh.
This is just kind of last minute, last year for Voyage Days, we had some karate in Annie's Park for part of the free children's programming. And they reached out to me again. I forwarded it on to staff. No pressure either way. I'll leave it in the hands of the committee, but it was I think pretty successful last year. I think they did a 5 to 10 and a 10 to 15-year-old kids, 2 sessions and kind of intro to some karate in the park.
Okay, and so this has been submitted, I guess, to the organizing group or staff. And you guys are responding to it?
We will.
Okay. Any other comments on it? Okay, thank you for having that. Enbridge Gas, 8.5, rate rebasing application update. Anybody want to comment on that one? No, okay, 8.6 is Township Broodmill, Lindock and Raglan, new provincial municipal fiscal framework. Any comments on it? No. 8.7, Minister Seniors and Accessibility, June is senior month. Any comments on that one?
I think we usually just declare, do we not bring a
Yeah.
resolution to declare?
Did they provide us with the sample of a,
Resolution, no?
No, they did not.
can we grab what we did in the past and bring it back next meeting? Please and thank you. Okay, and 8.8, Aqua first quarter water and wastewater system report. Comments? Okay, just my comment on that one is that we've got an organization that's taking care of our system A to Z. I noticed that our rating for the Environment Conservation Parks inspection completed on February 14th was 99%. You know, they identified only one non-compliance and it's been dealt with. So I think we're in good hands, and if anybody needs more information on this, there's a team at Aqua that would be more than willing to answer any question that we have. Okay, 8.9, Ontario Provincial Police 2025 Municipal Policing Billing Statement Property Count. Comments?
I'd like to make I just want to ask a question. Households 1,047, I thought it was 1,019 according to the last census. You think the OPP made a mistake?
I don't know, I didn't challenge them, Councillor.
OPP gets their numbers from MPAC.
Yeah, but, okay, I guess we built 30 some,
Yeah,
20 some houses.
or apartments. They're living quarters or anything, it's. If, Councillor Gardner, did you want to?
Yeah, I was just gonna say
address
that. My guess is that it may have something to do with vacant land because MPAC still has to give a statement for vacant land. And technically there is still policing for vacant land. Somebody could vandalize vacant land and stuff like that. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're including I'd say there's probably in the neighborhood of 20 vacant properties in town, but I might be wrong. I'm just guessing. If that's the difference, then that might be it.
My surprise was commercial and industrial. I didn't realize we had 63.
Yeah.
So like, I'm gonna look into that, because I thought we had a lot less, but maybe they got the wrong boundary somewhere. Is it something, can I ask staff maybe to get and the explanation would have to come from
We can look
MPAC?
into those numbers.
Okay, I appreciate that. Any other questions? Okay, so 8.10. MPP Vic Fideli, funding support for festival and events. We knew about this, I just want to make sure it made it to to this agenda. 55,000 is what we got, and 55,000 was the max we could get. And as the years go after COVID, that amount's gonna keep dropping until it reaches zero and they won't be given anymore. So we did well, we got the max, 55,000. 8.11. The Canadian Ecology Center. Councillor Levite wanted to say something on it.
Yes, on the 7th of June, they're gonna be celebrating their 25 years, 25 years as the Ecology Center. They're gonna be a special day on Friday, all the mayors, all the MPPs, and some MP from Ottawa are gonna be there. And they're gonna have a celebration, they're gonna have a small little meeting. I have asked if Mr. T-Bear could be there, because I will be in the hospital at that time. So I won't be able to attend, so I'm just wondering if our mayor is going to be attending this on a Friday.
I'm planning to attend.
Thank you. I will let them know, and Amy, if there's a way that you can inform the Ecology Center that he's coming. Because they want to make sure that they have enough food for everybody that's going to be attending. That's all. And the weekend, there's a big weekend that's going on. It's free for all the public. They'll have different events that's going on, different carvings. They're going to have native music up there also. The trails will be open. So it's free for the entire public of the area. So anybody who wants to spend the weekend, and the passes to go in, they'll be all exempt for that day, for the Saturday and Sunday. Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else want to comment on it? Okay, that's it for correspondence. Next is number 9, which we have no recommendations or reports from standing committee at this time because of number 10. And number 10 is the first information report. It's report number 24-30R. It was prepared by the clerk. And it's titled Filling of Council Seat Vacancy Procedures. Amy, floor is yours.
Thank you. So I'll just do a short version of this. So as you all know, at the April 22nd meeting, you chose to go out to the public to fill the council vacancy seat. So we issued that. The nomination day, well, basically nomination day was November 21st at 2 o'clock. So as of that time, we received 3 applications of interested parties wanting to sit at council seat. So we certified that list on the 22nd, advised the 3 candidates that they are in the running. So now, since we do not have a vacancy policy, it is up to council to now choose what day that they would like to hold this special meeting in order to interview the 3 candidates. It is suggested that this meeting begin prior to 6 p.m. just due to the length that it could become. And then the second thing is how council would like to handle the questions. If you would like to provide questions to us, so we can compile it, or for you to interview them, or if you would like the clerk's office to do the questions, provided to use the day of, and then you can answer them in that manner. So set out in the special meeting, how it's going to be conducted is once one interviewee comes in, you guys interview them. At that point in time, they are able to sit in the audience and listen to the other ones. But the other candidates cannot listen to other candidates prior to them speaking. So it is a little better that way. And then during that meeting, you will each have 1 ballot, and then you choose whomever you wish to have in that council seat. We will take the ballot, read them out, and that is who's chosen at that point in time.
And then if there's a 2-way tie, the names go in a hat and
and it's chosen
and that's,
that way.
that's,
That is
Draw
what
that.
was done in the past. yes.
okay, is it just done in the past, or is it something that, that's in the act, or? No,
No, that is silent on council.
okay,
That is where the council vacancy policy comes in play.
gotcha, gotcha. And when you say earlier than, 6, would 5 be enough, or would you recommend 4?
I don't want to give my personal opinion, so it would be up to you.
Okay, fair enough, and is council interested in, providing a date, right now, tonight, or?
Sure.
Sure.
Is there a possibility, your worship,
Yeah.
that, that we have it on the Monday of the 10th? Is that a possibility? Because I'd be back from my,
That's a regular meeting, right?
Correct.
I think it has to be a special meeting, so we gotta pick a date, apart from that,
Unless it's at like noon,
pardon me?
unless it's at like noon or something on the 10th.
Oh, yeah,
that I don't like.
that's a possibility for sure.
I'd like to be here, but if not, that's fine too.
No, I think all of council should be here for this.
I just have to go for the procedure.
Why not the 11th?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, the 11th,
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
Tuesday, the 11th at
Everybody else?
4 o'clock,
Everybody okay with that?
or do you prefer 5?
No, whatever,
Okay.
4 o'clock is fine.
If I may interject,
Please.
Yeah,
please.
that's why you're here.
So municipal act states that you must fill the seat within 60 days from the day that council declared the seat vacant.
60
Council declared it on April 22nd, so you must fill that seat before June 22nd.
Okay.
Okay, this is the 11th, thank you.
So what you're implying is that we should probably interview next weekend so that we can name that person at the 10th meeting.
You're actually gonna name the person that
At
night.
that meeting.
Okay.
So a resolution will be passed
Okay.
that council declares
The 11th is fine.
name candidate here,
So the 11th works,
it would, yes.
okay,
And then you would officially swear in, we would officially swear in. I would have to see if that would be allowed, because then your next regular meeting is on the 22nd. And I don't know if the
24th.
candidate before getting sworn in, 24th, thank you. Would be, if it's past the, like, 2 days past before we declare them. In that seat, they would have to take their oath and
Can't we do it on any other day? Do we have to do it on the 24th, or can't we do it if we swear, if we elect them on the 11th, can't we do it on whatever day?
then you would call a special meeting just to
Yeah.
declare them
Why
in
not?
there.
so you told me the 60 days, it's
On the 21st.
the 22nd?
Yeah, April 22nd, you declared it, so
Okay.
60 days.
And on the 17th, we can, we could have a meeting on the 17th,
Correct.
and that would all work,
Yes.
if everyone's okay with that. And
Okay,
then they
so-
would swear, be sworn in before the 60 days.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for allowing me to be here.
So on the, so it's at 4 o'clock on June the 11th,
Yes.
right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go on.
The only thing on the 11th, I've got to be up by like 8:30 PM, but I don't think it should take more than 4 hours. I'm hoping.
no.
No, okay.
I can't see.
It would
it.
depend on
What about
how
the
the
second?
question,
Right.
then on their answer, so.
We need to move.
I wouldn't think so. It's
Okay.
only 3.
What about the 17th? What time on the 17th?
It would be a regular time, 6 o'clock. And so, is that okay there, Gary? Yeah,
Sure is.
Councillor Gardner?
So did you want me to speak before you read the motion or after you read the motion?
I'm not ready to read the motion. I've
Okay.
got another decision
Okay,
to make.
so just in part of what the clerk was saying, the ballots, You said that they don't speak to anything about the ballots. Is there a way that we could do a ranking ballot? Like I pick my first choice, my second choice, my third choice, and they get, say, 3 points, 2 points, 1 point? I hate the idea of throwing it in a hat. I know that it makes a little bit more work. I hate the idea of, we could potentially, there's 6 of us, we could throw all 3 names in a hat. If we went 2, 2, and 2, right? We can throw 3 names in a hat. I just think it's,
Redundant.
we might as well just throw it in a hat now, but I just think that if you did a bit of a ranking system, or even a first choice and a second choice, and don't put a third choice, and they get 2 points for first choice and 1 point for second choice, and then whoever has the most points gets it, or something. I would hate to see it.
You're making it
Go to the hat.
complicated, just base the vote, just like you would
So,
vote.
so if we would do that 3, 2, 1. Do we need this in the resolution?
Yes.
Okay,
I don't see any problem with the vote.
I'm personally not a fan of ranked voting.
Okay, so just, okay, that's fine. I'll live with it. I would hate to
so
see
we
someone go
got
to it.
3 that don't agree with it, so that's me.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, oh, the questions, that was my other one, sorry. It was sitting there for a while. The questions, I was just gonna suggest that, like if we all send 2 questions, but 3 of us send the same question, then the clerk has to go back out and ask for more questions or submit. So I would say just if you have questions that you want to see included, submit them to the clerk. She'll hopefully be able to work them in. Now, if we send her 40 questions, we can only ask 12, then I leave it to her judgment to develop that for us. But I would just say like if we have something that we want to contribute to it, then to get it to her and she can
Make
come up
sure that you
with
send
the
it
rest.
busy enough that she can have a chance.
Yeah, fair. I think that, like a week before, like that gives you a week to submit 2 questions to ask them, fair? I have to ask 3.
Go ahead.
He's ready, good. Is that fair? Is that enough time for you, Amy? Is it like a week if we had the questions to you a week before?
Yes. Yeah, that would be.
I trust that you will come up with some good questions, so don't expect any from me.
Thank you, Councilor.
Councillor Ross?
Were there resumes that they submitted or?
It was nomination forms, the ones that I issued to all of council. to
Okay.
advise you to who they were. That was the package that they were
Okay,
provided to get.
okay, very good.
So are we all okay that we can provide 2 questions to the clerk for final approval?
Yeah,
Sure.
So a bit of both. Okay. So I'll read this, and if everyone's okay, then I'll ask for a mover and a seconder. Be it resolved that council of the town of Mattawa receives this report, and further that council sets a date and time for a special meeting to interview the candidates on June 11, 2024, beginning at 4. And further that council chooses to provide 2 questions each to the clerk for final approval. Does that work? Yes, sir.
you're saying that council, we have to provide the 2 questions
You
each?
don't have to, you can,
Oh, okay.
but the final decision will be made by the clerk which questions will come forward. If everyone's okay, so mover, the bike and, okay. Okay, so the motion is moved by Councillor Levite, seconded by Councillor Gardner. Be it resolved that the council of the town of Mattawa receives report number 24-30R titled Filling of Council Seat Vacancy Procedures. And further that council sets a date and time for a special meeting to interview the candidates on June 11, 2024, beginning at 4 p.m. And further that council chooses to provide 2 questions each to the clerk for final approval. Okay, all in favor? Carry.
What about the special meeting on the, should that be included in that?
That's a committee of the whole. It's not a
Okay.
special meeting.
Oh, okay,
That's regular,
yeah,
so we, even if it's only for that, we'll have it.
yeah, good.
Thank you. We got it all, Amy? We covered it all, okay, thank you. Now we're gonna move to bylaws. The first one is bylaw 24-11, rezoning of 1134 Lily Street property, being a bylaw for the purpose of amending bylaw number 523 as amended. Okay, so for whoever's listening in on this, just to give you a little update here, what this is about. It's a request that was submitted to rezone the property identified as 1154 Lily Street in the town of Mattawa. Basically, it's to amend zoning bylaw 85-23. And we are asking that 85-23 be amended by rezoning the land identified as 1154 Lily Street in the town of Mattawa from residential type 1, which is R1, to a residential type 2, R2. And that it be shown on the schedule of the bylaw. So I need a mover and a seconder. Okay, so the motion is moved by Councillor Ross, seconded by Councillor T-Bear. Be it resolved that the council of the town of Mattawa adopt bylaw number 24-11, which is a bylaw to approve the rezoning request for lot 77, plan 7, and known as 1154 Lily Street. File number R1-24, which will amend the zoning from residential type 1, R1, to residential type 2, R2. All in favor? Carried. And then bylaws 11.2, this one is bylaw 24-12, and it's a rezoning of 500-510 Valor Drive property. And it's again to amend bylaw 85-23. And furthermore, it's we've identified the land 500 to 510 Valwood Drive in the town of Mattawa from residential type 2, R2-26, to residential type 2, special, R2-27. And that'll also be shown on the Schedule A in the bylaw. So a mover and a seconder. So the motion is moved by Councillor Mick, seconded by Councillor DeVike. Be it resolved that the council of the town of Mattawa adopt bylaw number 24-12, which is a bylaw to approve the rezoning request for Plan 1, Range C, Lot 15S, and known as 500-510 Valwa Drive. File number R2-24, which will amend the zoning from residential type 2, special R2-26, to residential type 2, special R2-27. Any questions? If not, all in favor? Carried. Well, old business, anything to bring forward for John Dixon Public Library?
Nothing officially, we're meeting next week though to, pass a motion to kind of bring back to you folks. It's looking like, instead of, a larger budget, ask, we're going to hopefully ask for a bit of a commitment to help us move out of our space and maybe store some of our stuff while we're away. But I'll bring that officially to our next meeting if that's okay, so I can get it, approved from the library board.
Well, that's fine with me, because I think we've got to be considerate of our budget, because we got to pass that for taxation purposes. Anything else? Councillor Levesque?
Do you have a timeline? You have to be out of there?
The 31st of July.
You're gonna have enough time to do all that time?
Yeah, well, that's what our next meeting is talking about.
Bring that forward.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments? No? Okay, new business. Number 13, Councillor Ross, cameras within municipality.
So we're having a lot of issues with things being destroyed. Some of the memorial benches are being greased all the time. People are cleaning them up. There's certain areas that we've been kind of looking at. I'd like to get Dexter to speak a little bit as to some of the footwork and legwork's been done by some of the town hall staff. So if you would speak to Dex, that'd be great.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think as Councilor Ross said, there's been some areas of town that have seen a rise in vandalism. A couple of years ago, we had staff bring forward a proposal for cameras, and at the time, it was quite a cost. So, me being over here as staff now, I've been looking at the proposal over again and involving other parties, try and get a better idea of cost and installation. I've ran into a couple issues with that. First and foremost, I started working with the contractor to get things sorted out here, but there's been a couple of delays with the contractor, so kind of putting it back on the table with another contractor to try and expedite getting cameras installed, at least in Town Hall and in Timmins Park particularly, because that's where we've seen most of the vandalism. But expect a more wholesome report back, once I have more details. At this point, it's basically revisiting what was created already. That was a very good initiative that was done by staff a few years ago. Even as far as plotting out where the cameras ideally would go on each of our locations. So it's just revisiting that work and to bring more wholesome report back to council. In the meantime, doing some remedial work to deploy cameras in an area that's most susceptible to vandalism right now. So that's really all I have for you, unless you needed something else.
I'd like to ask a question on Dexter. Have we approached the business community? Would they have an appetite to maybe partner with us? Because I'm sure if we're seeing vandalism, they are also. So. And I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
I understand right now we want to protect our assets. But if it can be developed into a bigger, better and more affordable program by doing so, maybe it's something to do. I remember when that came up and the council of the day, didn't believe in infringing on people's privacy. I get it, but this is awful.
Yeah.
Like, I drove by the other day and saw two big rocks in the middle of the water splash pad, and I saw pictures today of it, part of it being broken. There's been stuff on social media about the graffiti that's unacceptable, but it's happening, and now you're telling me it's happening on the benches in town. you know, what's next, the gazebos you got, you know, so. Anyways, I just like to throw that out, and I'm sure you'll provide us with a detailed report.
There, there definitely is, going to be some gaps. In terms of what, you know, like, we can't monitor every bench,
yeah.
right? And I don't think we can monitor everything. But I think what we wanna have in mind is that the assets that we have, we wanna protect, and it may take a camera to do that in some instances. And so the public needs to be aware of that being our next step, right? It's just making sure that we're willing to go that far to make sure that the things that we've created in our community are protected. With that being said, I have not approached the business community yet, and there is a gap there with the business community since the DeVals have retired. And I have engaged with DeVals, and they have made it very clear that they're retired. And that's an evolving piece as well. I think we just have immediate needs that need to be addressed, and we started doing that already, particularly with town hall. We're ready for cameras here. It's just a matter of getting the contractor here to get it done. Which then would connect us to Timmins Park, and then potentially the museum, now that we have our fiber internet service installed here. In the past, we wouldn't have been able to leverage that if we didn't have it, so. We're very close to providing more information and getting some remedial items.
Yeah, I support the initiative. Councillor Levesque.
Do you know how many cameras that we have already installed on Main Street that's working?
None.
None.
I seen a couple of like by the IDA, but they're not working.
So any cameras that are deployed right now are owned by the business they're deployed on, it's not owned by the town. And they're not part of the project that happened 20+ years ago on Main Street, where cameras were all over Main Street.
So you can't interject those in, but the new system that you wanna put up? Yeah,
They're
okay.
so old.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering, that's all.
Because I think it's a good thing, because if you remember the incident at the marina, you know,
Mhm.
during the Voyageur days, you know, the cameras, you know, spoke a lot of words there. So, yes, again, I support it.
Yeah.
All right, questions from the public pertaining to the agenda? Or from staff? So in camera session, I'm gonna need a mover and a seconder to go into camera. Okay, so the motion is moved by Councillor Levesque, seconded by Councillor Ross. Be it resolved that this council proceed in camera at 6:58 PM in order to address the matter pertaining to personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. All in favor? Carried. Okay, so I have a motion here moved by Councillor T-Bear, seconded by Councillor Levesque. Be it resolved that the regular meeting reconvene at 7:30 PM. All in favor? Carried. We went into a closed meeting to discuss a personnel matter. And having no other business, I'm gonna ask for a mover and a seconder to. So I have a motion on the table. It's moved by Councillor Ross, seconded by Councillor Gardner. Be it resolved that the May 27, 2024 meeting adjourn at 7:31 PM. All in favor? Carry.
Oh,
Again.